Mega Man Zero 3 is what I have been waiting for. Mega Man Zero and Mega Man Zero 2 were great games, but each had their own issues and little quirks I just really wasn't into. It all comes together in Mega Man Zero 3. As is tradition at this point, Mega Man Zero 3 has a new version of the rod. This time it is a somewhat nerfed, but also buffed version of the rod from Mega Man Zero 1. It can mostly be used to destroy or push things around that can't be destroyed or pushed around otherwise. It can also be used to pogo, but only with the charged attack. This means that there can be no chain pogos. The movement abilities of the rods in the first and second game are cool, but also really unreliable to execute. It's cool when you get it, but with the directional controls, the execution is sometimes kind of a crapshoot. With how many instant kills there were, especially in Mega Man Zero 2, this would just all compound in way too many moments where you could just die at a moment's notice. In Mega Man Zero 3, there's way less of all of that. Less spikes, less infinite pits, and just generally better flow through every level. It is so much less anxiety-inducing to play this game than the first two. Pretty much every level is great fun, and that doesn't just concern the main path through it. Mega Man Zero 3 completely overhauls the collection system, the series. Instead of directly finding things like sub-tanks and cyber elves, you now pick up these data discs. These contain things like cyber elves, but also the new equipment chips and lore entries. First of all, the cyber elves. This system has been somewhat reworked. There are now two types of cyber elves: fusion elves and satellite elves. Fusion elves work just like before, but satellite elves can be equipped to one of two slots. This doesn't give you a score penalty and doesn't use up the cyber elf. This means that you can now use select cyber elf effects without any downsides. Not having to give up an entire system without giving up an entire other system is nice. It's really nice. There is also technically a third kind of cyber elf that can function as either one or the other, and after upgrading them to max level you can kinda switch between which you want them to be. This pretty much completely solves all of the issues I've had with the cyber elf system. You're not completely incentivized to ignore it anymore, and as long as you don't use any fusion elves, it also doesn't make the rest of the game a cakewalk. Now you still have to grind to upgrade them. But since there's no real reason to upgrade that many of them anymore, you can now focus on the ones you actually want, which means the potential for less grinding is there if you make smart decisions. Of course, all of this is in the context of only using satellite elves, which, by the way, if you want you can still use fusion elves, which make the game a lot easier if you're having trouble with it. However, there's now a new type of equipable and collectible in this game: the equipment chips. You have slots for helmet, body, and so on, like Mega Man X would. The elemental chips from the previous games are now part of the body chips, but there are a lot more not obtained through the story. These are just collectibles lying around somewhere like the armor capsules would be in a Mega Man X game, and they are just as useful. However, there are now several options for each slot. This means you can customize your moveset and abilities however you want. Oh, the boss you're about to fight doesn't have an elemental weakness, then change to something else. Plus, with this system you can finally get the double jump back. Weapon leveling is also completely gone. I've been mixed on that system in the past, but playing a game where you get all of the weapon abilities from the start really cements my opinion that, yeah, this is for the best. All of these systems work together to make this an overall much more fun game. Getting A ranks and EX skills is suddenly not a pain anymore. However, what really brings it together this time, I think, is the story. Not just the story, but the atmosphere of everything, the way it's delivered. It's not like the story is the greatest, most interesting thing ever, but the way it's presented is so good. Mega Man Zero takes itself way more seriously than any of the other Mega Man franchises, and Inti Creates has the skill to actually pull it off. For the first time in my experience, make you care about the story. A game's gameplay can be the best ever, but if the presentation is boring, then I at least will probably not remember it. Video games aren't one thing. They're a combination of everything that goes into them. And this game is a perfect example of that. Everything just comes together to make a great and memorable game I would love to play again. In fact, I am playing it again. 10 out of 10.